You staying home tonight?
I hadn't planned on it, no.
Plan on it.
For all this trouble, there was guys.
There were guys there.
There were guys.
I went to so many birthday parties. I went to so many birthday parties of my friends in orchestra, and I loved it because all of their moms made amazing food. So I'd go to and I mean, I hope this isn't racist, but I'd go to like Vietnamese moms, Filipino moms,
adobo,
Korean moms. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah,
it was amazing. Primarily Filipino in Florida because I grew up in Florida.
Fun.
So primarily Filipino moms. So a lot of that kind of food and a lot of karaoke at every birthday party.
Dude, karaoke is a thing.
Yeah.
Korean karaoke.
That was normally.
Have you ever been to one of those Korean karaoke places?
No.
And
do they have them around here?
There's karaoke. If you go to karaoke spots,
yeah.
It's like there's one that I've been to, and I think it's a thing. So like you go in, and it looks like it would have been like a movie theater, meaning like you walk in and there's a big lobby, and you rent rooms, and in the rooms is like a party.
Oh, so it's like a private
private karaoke thing.
That sounds amazing,
dude. It is a blast.
How many people can you fit in a room?
15 crowded.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, 20 crowded.
It's that's a good size room. 4,
you feel like a king. It's like, and then they bring all this fried food.
Oh, really? They'll bring. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Don't do it though. But it's cool to like. You won't agree with you. He won't agree with you.
That's amazing.
Anyway.
Well, I don't really have a structure to this.
Okay.
Does that look okay to you?
It looks great.
You got professional eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of start. Do you have a hard out?
No.
Perfect.
Let's cling.
All right, here we cling. Here we go. Cheers. Welcome to the show, Sean.
Hey, thanks for having me.
How did we meet? We met online, but I know you I've been adjacent to you, I feel like.
Cool.
And then when we started connecting on Instagram, I was like, man, I know of you, but just like adjacently, like through Father Pontifex or through Fat Mass or through all these other projects and stuff like that.
So when you emailed me, I was with my friend Dustin, and I said, "Hey," and I brought you up, and I brought up the email, and I looked you up on IG, and I showed him. He goes, "Who is this guy?" And he started looking through your followers. I was like, "Oh, that's what people do. People look through other people's followers to see how they know." And I'm like, "That's genius."
Oh my gosh,
super smart.
The most fun you can do is to go, especially like celebrities, like who does John Mayer follow and stuff like that.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't tell me.
What? It's so.
It's
fun.
gonna be a problem.
No, it's so fun. Like who does Trump follow? Stuff like that. And also a shout out because I have a friend who recently followed someone on Instagram, but they didn't know that you could, like, other people can see who you follow.
Yes.
And they followed someone shady. I don't think they know. And I don't know if it's my responsibility to reach out to them and tell
Definitely
them.
not. Look, here's the thing.
Yeah. Like if they don't know that everyone knows, then it's fine.
Oh, wait. I guess you're going to have to quantify the shadiness.
It was pretty shady. It was like
this person's publicly known as being a shady person or some.
Well, no, just followed a very shady account. They followed like a pretty like a shady,
a racy account.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
and not just
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's almost like your YouTube history.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Grandpa, you need to stop liking or sharing things,
dude,
on Facebook. That was a thing.
Okay, I'm off Facebook. Totally.
Yeah.
I didn't know when Instagram first came out. I thought it was an app that put cool filters on your photos.
Yeah.
That's what it was, right?
I think everyone thought,
But I didn't know it was a social media account.
Yeah.
I go to lunch with my worship pastor and the creative guy at the church, and we're eating lunch, and he's like, whatever. And he's like, yeah, I follow you on Instagram. I was like, what? I mean, it was way early on.
Yeah.
I was like, what? He goes, yeah, I see all the beers that you post. And it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Except
you
I might, because I would have a beer at lunch. I'm working at home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna take a picture of this beer, put a cool filter on it, and be like, it was before like beer apps were a thing where you could like.
You could rank them and stuff. So
so you could keep tabs.
Keeping records.
Because it was when the craft ones were blowing up, and it's like the idea was to try new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So to me...
Dude, that's just like, there's an
app...
So
he told me, and I freaked out. I was like, wait a minute.
There's an app, Visco, VSCO.
Okay.
It's a photo app.
Yep.
And you can put. I use it primarily for filters, but
Yes.
there is like a community aspect that you can share the photos somehow, but it's different than Instagram in that you can just post the photos for yourself. So I can see exactly like when Instagram first comes out, you just think like, no, this is my little archive. Like this is my
Oh my gosh. And then he told me, and we're at lunch, I pull it out and I look and I'm like, I have so and so many followers. And I was like, it was that moment of like the vulnerability. Like, I know I didn't post shady stuff. Yeah. But I didn't know people could see the things I'm taking pictures of.
Yeah. It's strange. You kind of need like a some type of agreement at the beginning where they tell you, hey,
no, you just don't be stupid. Don't be stupid.
You know, and people ask me that, like, a lot. I have friends and stuff who say, how do you, because they want to put out more stuff online. And they're like, aren't you afraid that like putting out stuff that you're like putting yourself out there, that it's out there forever? And the only answer I have is like a long time ago, I just decided that everything I put on, like that I'm going to just be exposed. Yes. And so I need to just live in a way that I'm not ashamed of. Like if I put a picture of a beer online, then I stand behind that. Like I'm not ashamed. I'm not going to pretend to be some polished, this is especially back when I was in youth ministry. I'm not going to pretend to be like a polished guy without problems and issues. And I think social media is turning into that. Like this is who we are.
It's changing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm with you. I think that there's a thing that you have to say to yourself. Mm-hmm. I know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Yeah. And I think one of the reasons I got off Facebook and a lot of the things that around Facebook is that, you know, certain people want these online communities to be something they're not. Yeah. And then also they might, I can't speak for other people, but I'm just saying it's almost like this idea that they're not thinking about why they're doing what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Just posting
they're
random
just doing it. They're just doing it. Yeah. And I'm not perfect. Like again, I'm not saying I know everything why I do it. Yeah. But there has to be a reason. So like and then there's that other aspect where everything is overly curated. So I mean, it's we're like talking about one side of it, but it's the other side is completely ridiculous
like
too.
I want to be an influencer. I want to build my brand. It's like everyone's building their own brands.
Yeah, or it's like completely just not reality.
Yeah. Man,
well, that's a thing.
So how did you get into music? Have you always been into music?
I was yes, I always liked music. I think popular culture kind of just shows that, but it's funny. I think I really started getting into it when I was a teenager. I was a skateboarder.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you grow up?
I moved to Dallas when I was 11. Mm-hmm. From where? And from Louisiana, from Southwest Louisiana. Cool. So that was really cool.
Your parents are from there?
My mom is. Yeah. My dad's from Alabama. Okay. So, music was really popping. I mean, I think music's always popping, but Snoop Dogg and all that stuff coming up. But I was just a skateboarder, and I think skateboarding had such an aesthetic. It was really, really, really strong. Yeah. And so the skate companies and skateboarders I liked really skated in these urban areas, and they skated to this hip hop music, and they had this East Coast fashion and aesthetic. And I think I got really into it. And then one skate video had like a DJ in the video, and I was like, "That's what that is!" Like, because I've seen it, But then, like, experiencing the music and being a teenager and then singing it with skateboarding, I was like, wait up. This is a whole thing.
Yeah. And this was like, you're living in Dallas, and like, what time? This is when you're 11? Kind of like around that time period? What was that noise? Do you hear that noise?
I think your camera's about to self-destruct.
It's about to blow up.
I got into music when I was a kid. So, I mean, I think I really decided to like, well, I'm going to make music kind of as a teenager. Yeah.
So what kind of music, like, were you writing music, writing lyrics? Were you making like tracks? Like what was the stuff that you were into?
I mean, as a kid, I would write lyrics all the time. So I was way into grunge music when grunge was out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
So way into grunge, and I used to write songs in class.
Yeah. Do you play guitar or anything like that? Or
no, like my parents reminded me that they offered me to get a guitar, but my friend Ryan had a guitar, and I have feminine hands. That's not a diss to women.
Me too.
Like, it's not like just for me. I was like, when I get on a guitar, I'm like, that was a lot of pressure. Yeah. You have to put weight on the top of that. And as a kid,
this is hard.
As a kid, I mean, I think now maybe I can reach the top string. Yeah, but as a kid, I was like, nah.
Yeah.
So I think once I saw like DJing, I would rap at parties and way into the hip hop thing, and then I bought turntables when I was in high school.
Yeah. So you were doing grunge and hip hop and rap.
No. Grunge was really popping, and then like it all changed.
It all changed. Okay.
It all changed like the next school year.
What was it? Was it just like a certain album that came out or something? What was it? What album?
Yeah, Wu-Tang. It was just Wu-Tang. It was just like I wouldn't say it's just Wu-Tang, but it was just like those groups around that time.
Yeah.
Like the whole aesthetic changed
Yeah.
for me, and it was really about getting more into skateboarding.
Yeah.
The more I got into skateboarding, the more I was like, because it's like where you skateboarded. So then we started going downtown Dallas to skateboard.
Yeah.
And so I love skateboarding downtown Dallas.
Yeah.
And so when you watch skate videos of the skaters that skated in the downtown urban areas,
Yeah.
they were skating to hip hop,
Mm-hmm.
and they were wearing like cargo pants, like army pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that whole aesthetic, you were like, this is me.
I mean, as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think once I saw like the action of it, I was like, oh, like this, there's something special, different to it.
Yeah. What do you think it was that drew? Well,
it was just really different. The DJing was really, really different. It was it's just that rebel feel of it.
Yeah.
Like, I loved hip hop, but even at that time, I was never like one to say like, I hate this type of music.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bjork was really popping, and Rage Against the Machine, and then ska was so huge at that time. I
got into a little ska.
Yeah, Operation Ivy.
Okay.
And then Rancid. Like I still loved, and skate punk was huge.
Yeah.
Like punk music.
Yeah.
MXPX, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so that whole aesthetic,
Yeah.
like we would skate with those guys, those punk rock skaters.
Yeah.
So like everybody had their own little musical thing.
Yeah.
But we all kind of came together as like rebel teenagers.
Yeah. So were most of you guys just like making music and writing lyrics and stuff?
A few of us, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
How did you go about? Were you just like what was the main thing that? Because right now, I mean, I feel like a kid today, if they wanted to make music, they'd buy an Apple laptop.
Oh yeah,
and they'd start making. But back then, what were you using to make music?
I think just old equipment that'd be hand me down stuff. So like I had an old hand me down drum machine.
Mm-hmm.
This was later. This was like late teens that I got this drum machine. But I think hip hoppers use like tape decks because you'd have a tape deck and there'd be two tape decks, and you could cassette. You could dub one tape to the next.
Yeah,
and so you had like a recording track type thing. So you could plug a mic into your stereo, or you would loop. It's called pause loop tapes, and you could make these little edits.
Yeah.
And so it was just stuff like that. And like I don't know if you ever knew, but like if you had like a stereo with a microphone input, you could take your headphones and plug them in the mic input and just turn it up all the way and yell into the headphones.
Really?
Because speakers are microphones.
They're the same thing. Yeah. Okay, I did know
so
that.
You could you could record.
Yeah, that's wild. So would you do some stuff like that?
Like, oh yeah.
Yeah. What about sampling? Sampling was like a big thing too.
Yeah.
Did you like sample a lot of stuff? And
I've only recently kind of just stopped sampling. I still sample, but I don't like. It's not like it used to be.
Yeah. So what happened after high school, or what was your experience of high school, and then going to where you are now? Like what?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's all a blur.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think after high school, as far as music goes, I think music, I bought turntables like my senior year.
Yeah.
And I did some shows, and then there was a local rapper who was like, hey, come DJ for me. And I started making music with him.
Yeah.
And it kind of changed from there. He was a little older, so he was like my big bro, and he was already doing music.
Yeah.
So for music side, I kind of started at that point and never really stopped. I slowed down certain parts of my life, but like as when it became a profession, I was lucky enough as a young adult, when things changed in my life, I was able to go, okay, well, I'm going to make money with music.
Yeah. Well, what changed? Or like what, I think a lot of my friends struggle with this, when do I jump into a professional creative career full time, and when do I just like do it on the side, and
then when do you stop?
Yeah, exactly. Seriously,
that's another question nobody brings up, by the way.
Yeah, and like especially if you try something on the side and you're like, how do I know if this is successful,
So
or
hard.
what is success, or like, should I just focus on my art? Should I focus on what people are saying about, like,
That's so real.
yeah.
That those questions never stop, and you should never stop asking those questions.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I think for me, what made me like jump into it, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna pursue this more. So I had already made several albums and did lots of things that I really liked.
Yeah.
And I have a son,
Mhm.
and when he was really young, he lost his hearing, like really young. Like as he was learning to talk, he was losing his hearing, but we didn't know until he just kind of stopped talking.
Yeah. Wow. How old was he when that happened?
I mean, when kids learn to talk.
Dang. That's super
So
young.
yeah, really young. I'm not good with that.
Yeah.
Those dates, like, between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Between 1 and 2.
And that's hard to tell if they're, like that would be hard to tell.
He
if
went
they're
from
hearing impaired.
like talking to just mouthing.
Yeah. Interesting.
Isn't that heartbreaking?
Yeah.
Kind of weird. So yeah, so at that point, we've learned about his hearing stuff.
Yeah,
and
what
then-
was it that caused that?
You don't know, and then like when
It's crazy. My mom, same thing. I remember I was in high school. My mom just woke up, lost hearing in one ear.
oh wow,
She just woke up, and I remember we were on our way back from church, and I was like, "Dad, why is Mom? She doesn't seem in a good mood." And
Yeah.
Dad's like, and told me like, she lost her hearing in one ear and just doesn't know why. And
oh wow,
years of going to the doctor, they tried all sorts of. They just like we don't know. Like, isn't
Right.
that wild?
Yep. When we got his hearing tested and they said this stuff and we were like, why? And they're like, well, we don't. Nobody ever really knows, and it's really hard to find out
That's
why.
so crazy.
And he says, even when you find out why, it doesn't really make a big difference.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's a, you're a doctor. You're supposed to have answers to stuff
Yeah,
like this.
but it's almost like with his problem is, the hearing, when sound comes through your ear, it hits those little hairs, and those send like that electrical information to your
Yeah.
brain. Like his hairs were all messed up in there.
Interesting. Yeah.
And they said that, that happens.
Yeah.
It's not like it was always there, but it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, it's like, well, we can't do anything about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why. That's why
Yeah.
it's almost like, yeah, I get it, Doc. Like,
Dang.
I know.
So
Yeah.
was that? Yeah, sorry, I took
No,
you off,
no.
but that was related to like things changing. You found out.
So we found out he lost his hearing. So we decided to take him to a special school, a private school.
Okay.
And so to take him to the private school, it was like 40 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
So my wife had a great career path.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, I'll quit my job and then I'll just take him. And it's like a half school. It's like a preschool, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I'll just try to figure out how to make money and we can take him to this school.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it. And so that was like, well, I don't really have a choice.
Yeah. What was the bulk of what you were doing to make money? Was it doing
DJing.
shows? Yeah, doing shows. and
Becoming like a mobile DJ, like that's like a job.
Yeah.
That's like a real job.
stuff?
Like,
yeah.
just like people, it's just the party industry,
Mhm.
right? Like
Yeah.
you rent a bounce house,
Yeah.
you rent a karaoke
Yeah, you rent a
machine
DJ,
guy,
yeah.
you hire a DJ.
Yeah.
It was like a job.
But there's a lot of weddings and stuff.
I did have a wedding company.
Oh, wow.
A separate wedding company.
That's smart. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it was smart. It was awesome because I had a friend that helped me. Like he was like, "Let's," we were brave enough to do it together, and I wouldn't want to do it by myself.
Yeah.
And mobile DJing was hard enough for me, anyways, because I was such like a music nerd that I was like, I don't know what regular people like, and in fact, I don't like what regular people like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when I started doing that, it was like I find now this is my strength, but it was like I had to like stop and study.
Yeah.
And like every time I met somebody, I asked them what kind of music they like.
Yeah.
It was like learning. It was
Yeah.
like reading a book.
Yeah.
So I really became that person that was like, okay, what do people like? What works?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So you kind of trained yourself to be like attuned to the audience, like what the audience liked, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Because I wanted to be able to do a good job.
yeah,
Like some DJs are like artists.
yeah,
And then like, but a mobile DJ, you hire them, like you pay them a lot of money, and it's like you expect them to do what you want them to do.
yeah.
So like I found like if I could just keep the party going and keep people away from me, if I was doing a great job, I wouldn't have to deal with a lot of the extra headaches.
A lot of people coming up and suggesting songs.
Yeah, so
and
it's like
stuff.
I'm just gonna kill it, so they don't have to do that.
So when did you start getting into? So you're DJing and stuff, but you do a lot of production, right? Like
Yeah, so I was making music right out of high school. I started making beats through sampling.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, through sampling and through that guy Eric Craddock, shout out. So that was the first guy that kind of asked me to start DJing for his group.
Yeah.
And then I saw them making music, and I was like, well, I can make better music than that, which I couldn't, but I thought I could, right?
Dude, I know exactly. I know exactly that feeling. Yeah.
So by our first like official record, I produced all the beats, and then the second record was a lot better. And so I just was producing hip hop music for a long time.
Yeah. And then so it's just word of mouth. People are like, hey, we want you to keep.
Well, the internet was popping.
Yeah.
So think about that.
Yeah.
Think about like from 2000 to 2007 and 8.
It was all like MySpace.
Dude, it was like the forums
Mm-hmm.
and then MySpace.
Yeah.
And then and then Facebook, but that was huge. Like the forums and like SoundClick and MP3.com and MySpace.
Dang.
So music was just a thing on the internet.
Yeah. That's wild, man.
So that's how it worked for me because it was so popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after you told your wife that you were just going to try to do that full time, like what was that like? Like what?
I didn't really have to tell her. It was like somebody had to drive him to school. So it was kind of cool. I was like, oh, great. You have your master's degree in this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you keep going on your career path?
I joke all the time with my wife. I'm like, I would love to just be a stay-at-home mom, you know?
Yeah.
I would love to be a mommy blogger. I'll just blog.
Well,
you bring home the bacon.
I wish there was blogs back then. I did have a blog.
Yeah.
Around that time when my kids were really young. Yeah. So I stayed home with my kids.
Yeah.
My next kid.
Yeah.
I stayed home with her.
How many kids do you have?
2.
Cool.
Yeah.
So when did you and Dustin meet?
Yep, early on, kind of
skateboarding?
like no, just through music.
Yeah.
So, I was doing a show, and then I think Dustin saw me at the door in Dallas, and somebody told him that I was I was a Catholic or whatever, which I'm not. But I'm so glad that he came up and said what's up to me.
Yeah.
And so one of the groups I started DJing for, a group saw me DJing at the door, asked me to perform with them at the door when they were going to have a show coming up. And they were 2 Catholic dudes. And then Dust heard about this Catholic rap group at the door in Dallas. So when he came and saw us, he thought I was the Catholic guy. And then but it doesn't matter.
What was the group called?
0.5 Covenant.
Okay, I don't think
so. Yeah, so 2000 maybe 3.
Okay.
So he invited us. He started doing a thing called fatmass.com, and it was an apologetics website.
Yeah.
And then, but he decided to add this hip hop thing to it.
Yeah.
And so he had lined up some shows. And so he brought us to do the show. So we've known each other since then.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how long it's been now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you also work with like Father Pontifex too, right? Was that through Dustin or something like that? Or?
Well, I've known Father Pontifex through the Catholic hip hop scene.
Nice.
So like a lot of those,
gosh, the Catholic hip hop scene, that's such a strange.
I know, but it's funny when you think about people that are making music with a certain, it's almost like saying like the folk banjo scene.
I know, right? Yeah,
like,
it's so crazy.
You think that's not a thing.
Yeah.
Bro, you're going to get hit up by some folk banjo people. They're like,
right?
Shout out folk banjo.
Yeah, right?
Like, is there a banjo that's not folk, by the way?
Yeah. I don't know.
Classical banjo scene.
It would be like, Catholic theremin players, or like.
Don't know.
Like
hip hop is
niche.
I like theremins, but that's not that niche. It is a niche.
Yeah,
but
totally.
in music, niches work.
Yeah.
So
I struggle with the whole niche thing because, I mean, like, for like this podcast and stuff like that, like, there's part of me that knows that if I niche down into like, oh, this is Catholic stuff, sometimes it's easier to do that.
Of course.
Because people are like, oh yeah, it's the only Catholic men under 40 podcast, right?
Love it.
But then there's this other part of me that's like struggles with it and not wanting to put a label on it and wanting to just be as vague as possible. So
it's because you're from this generation, bro.
It's my,
I don't know.
Diagnose me, please, Sean.
I
Help
just
me.
think,
Yeah.
I think maybe younger people don't have an issue with that so much because they've come around so much branding and marketing.
Yeah.
And for us, all of this is we don't want to be branded and marketed. And I think every kind of generation has their thing. But honestly, I really think that's almost I would immediately say that's a generational thing, because the reality is, when you know marketing, if you don't have an itch, you're dead.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
true,
Marketing
yeah.
is all about knowing exactly who you're trying to target. And then when you target that person, you're saying, hey, I'm the one for you.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think, Ed, what you said is almost every one of my peers, we all say that.
Yeah,
we all
I just
go,
so
we
struggle
don't
with
want to
it.
do it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think it's probably our idea of what that means.
Yeah.
It's not the reality. It's just kind of maybe the idea of really what that means.
I've tried both. Like, I remember a while back, I tried starting a website called Reverb Culture, and it was for Catholic young adults. But I just got tired internally of constantly speaking directly to the Catholic audience.
Okay.
And so I was like, man, like I just felt the tug to do more superficial clickbaity stuff.
Yeah.
It's like every Halloween, here's like the top 10 Catholic saints you should know about. I'm like, I would much rather like get outside of that bubble and talk to other people. Like, so I don't know. I think we should I think that's fair to say that, though, right? Yeah.
And I think it's fair to explore that.
Yeah.
Being genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because like as a kid, part of the reason I do a lot of stuff online is just because as a kid, like I just wanted to. I would have loved. Do you listen to podcasts at all, like Joe Rogan or anything like that?
I do listen to a lot of podcasts. I don't listen to Joe Rogan, but I love podcasts.
Joe, what were some that you listen to? What do you like?
My favorite like surface level one is the 9 Club. It's a skateboarding.
Oh, okay, I haven't heard that. Okay,
yeah, it's a skateboarding podcast. But I love all kinds of podcasts. I follow some theologian guys. I follow some churches, but then I also follow like business ones.
Yeah. Do you follow any sermons? Do you follow any like sermon of the week type ones?
No, I follow Ravi Zacharias.
Oh, dude, I am
he has
one
two
of
them.
Biggest Ravi Zacharias fans in the world. Yeah,
dude. Okay, so his 2 channels
saved my life in high school. Just like listening to him, like kept me Christian.
He's so rad because he's like one of those preachers that have been around a long time, and so he has these staple messages.
Yeah.
And on his podcast, they just keep playing the same ones over and over.
Sweet.
So if you listen enough, you just keep. But they're so. I've never found a preacher that is so like. You feel like you're taking in a lot of knowledge.
Yep.
But it's hitting your heart even stronger.
Yes, yeah.
So there's a lot to chew on.
Yeah, I remember him saying like you have to. It was like he has like some pithy thing about the 3 parts of preaching where it's like the truth, but then like dinner table as well, or something like that. Yeah. About you have to like just give them the truth, but then you also have to like answer it as if you're just around the dinner table.
But he's philosophical too.
Exactly. Yeah, he does both.
Because yes. Yeah. And he says he's not like he says he's not an intellectual.
What? Really?
But he's like the smartest guy. I think if you think of any intellectual Christian, you think of him and there's a few others, right? But he said that in a sermon, because he says when it comes down to it, that's not the heart.
Oh, true. Yeah.
For him, he goes, I don't like talking to intellectuals. He goes, it's like going to. He didn't say fight, but he described it like you're going to get beat up. You're not going to be enough.
Yeah, totally.
You just can't do it.
Yeah, man. He has some of the craziest. Let me just make sure everything's recording. He has some of the craziest stories of talking with like professors, because he would do those Veritas forums. In fact, one of the I am still kicking myself because he came. I was at Georgia Tech for like a year and a half, and then I transferred out. But he came there, and
his ministry's in Atlanta now.
Yeah, and I just didn't realize what it was. Like he came, I was going there, and I just didn't go.
That's okay.
But
now he has podcast.
So wild.
So you're good.
Sorry, why were we bringing that up?
Well, we talked about bucket. I like What's Good.
Oh yeah.
So it's Stretch and Bobbito who did like a legendary hip hop, college radio thing, and now they're back as even older men, and they're still doing it. And then the Bible Project
yep.
and Good Brew. Oh, it's about to pop on, y'all. Good Brew Guide.
Okay.
And my buddy Harper, he drummed with a group with me and Crump.
That's cool. The Liturgists, man. I went through a hardcore the Liturgist phase.
Yeah, the OVNI. Shout out to OVNI. So former professional skateboarder, 2 professional skateboarders. They're doing business related podcasts now.
Interesting.
So people, you kind of grow out of, like, you get older and you can't do it, and so you got to figure out what to do. So this is kind of rad. It's almost like music now is music and like the business mindset are just like one and the same now, which is pretty sad to me. But like as a person that works with their whatever you call I do, it's like the business side is so like a thing.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So trying to sharpen those areas. Yeah, Here's the thing, bro. You just can't
lay it on me.
You can only get so good at things you're not good at.
Dude, you got to go the whole Gary Vaynerchuk way, where he's like, "Don't worry about your weaknesses.
Right,
Just
it's the strengths.
Double down on your strengths.
Double, triple, quadruple down on your strengths.
What's
I'm
your
totally
strength?
in there.
What's your strength?
You want my 5 strengths?
I want to give it to you.
Okay, so let's go to my productivity.
You have them listed on your phone?
Yeah, my strengths guide, my Gallup strength. I'm a Gallup strength nerd.
Interesting. Okay. So what is this? This is like Clifton Strengths.
Clifton Strengths. This is the strengths. I would assume this is the biggest one for you to assessment.
Okay, but it's an app on your phone to
well, they have an app. Everybody has an app. No, so Clifton Strength Finder. So you do this personally, or you get this done at work or whatever. So there's a number of strengths. There's like 40 something, and you can get your top 5, or you can get all of them.
So there's 40 strengths. And
there's like these are my top 5. Okay. Empathy is number 1. Learner is number 2. Developer is 3. Connectedness is 4, and activator is 5. So what's cool about, like, a lot of people do this like when they work at a church or they work at work and they have a little meeting and they take the test and then they're like, cool. And it's like a personality test.
Yeah, it's like, glad we did that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But strengths is really cool because there's a strong application. Yeah. When I did my strengths, there was one that tripped me out. My number 5 tripped me out because I was becoming enlightened about this area in me. Okay. And so when I saw it on the test, I was like, oh, I know that. Yeah. I make everybody mad because of this one.
Really? What was it?
Activator.
You make people mad?
Well, it says
is that like
activator is somebody that they hear an idea, and when there's a commitment, this person goes to work right away, and they're often seen as impatient.
Oh, so it's like we need let's do it. Let's stop talking about it.
After this meeting, when we come up with an idea during this time, we will turn these mics, and I'll be like, tomorrow, I'm going to text you about this. I want to know your top 5 ideas about how we're going to get this done. And then you're going to go, I wish I never met you.
But you need the activators, man. Like on a team, you need the activators. Because I'm very visionary. I don't know what but I'm very
yep.
And so on our team, like, and we have another visionary too. And so there's other, like, very practical person that's like, okay, but wait, let's stop dreaming. Like, let's get down to the brass tacks. What's your wife? Is your wife the opposite of some of your things? Me and my wife are like...
Let's pull out the app real quick.
Oh, you have your wife in the app?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, dang.
So she's...
Relator?
She's go ahead, read them.
What is Relator, Maximizer, Arranger, Developer... I feel like I'm an Arranger. What is Maximizer? People who are especially talented in the Maximizer theme focus on strengths as a way to stimulate personal and group excellence. They seek to transform something strong into something superb. So they're like good to great. They want to make it really awesome. They're
almost like really good at, for sure. That combined with Arranger, well, I just can know all these because I know my wife a little bit, so it's like I know what all these mean together. Yeah, yeah. Like she makes things look really easy, and when she's a leader, and like when she's in a group, you don't understand why you guys are kicking so much butt and it's so much fun. You're like,
we're really doing this.
How are we doing this so well?
Yeah.
And it's awesome. and it's like you're looking at your leader and you're like, you're not even sweating.
Yeah.
Why? Like, it's strange at first.
That's awesome. Yeah. So how does that relate, like, in when you're doing production and stuff? What's the stuff you love?
Learner. Number 2, learner. Okay. Well, I wouldn't, yes. Learner allows me to say, well, if there's a task at hand, I'm excited about digging into how it's possible to do it.
Yeah. So what do you love more, the making your own music or making other, like, working
That's
on
why
other
I think doing work, that's why. So like at this stage and point in my life, like my like business, like one of my things is I help other artists make their
Yeah.
realities.
Yeah.
So I take their vision and try to make it a real thing.
Yeah.
And so,
And that's important. Like, I think a lot of people think that it's just a solo, like, I just got to write my own thing.
Bro, not everybody can do everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, and there's this thing about excellence, and it's like, I can do a lot of stuff only because I can learn about it. And then, like, I'm an activator, right? And it's like, well, I'm just going to start doing it.
Yeah.
And excellence has none of that has to do with excellence. It's just really about, like, getting it done.
Yeah.
So when it comes to music production, that's why over the years I've able to change my sound and able to get into a new area. It's not because I've wanted to do that per se, but because I've seen a need to do it. And it's like, oh, I like learning about it anyway, so I might as well go for it.
What kind of changes are you talking about? Like, what?
Just moving from sampling to not sampling.
Gotcha.
And like, you know, having a strong hip hop sample aesthetic to going, oh, I'm gonna make music that sounds more like, just for the average listener, like a Black Eyed Peas type of track, a pop track, right?
Yeah.
And then going, oh, well, I'm gonna make this type of music, or I'm gonna take what I like about all these things and make this type of weird music.
Yeah. Do you have to separate, like, the music you're making for yourself and the music that you're making for more, like, business type?
Yeah,
stuff?
I don't have to separate it, but the thing is I have to do it. So it's like, if I decide to make music for myself, it's not going to sound like anything I had been working on. And typically when I start to make music for myself, it's the opposite of what I'm working on. So like, when I'm making all these drum machine, really kind of more modern hip hop tracks, at a time when I was doing that, I was making all these really dirty, dusty hip hop tracks on the side.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I have a lot of clients that I might be making music for, when I take a break, I'm like, oh, I'm going to make something completely different. Yeah. And it's like, not that I don't have to think about it. It just happens.
Yeah. I feel like every now and then I have to just tell myself to give myself liberty to do it. It's like, because sometimes I do get caught up in, like, okay, well, I got to make something that a lot of people are going to like. What's my angle on that? You know, what's my, you know, back to the whole niche thing. Like, okay, well, what's the niche on? And then I have to kind of force myself to cleanse it and just go, okay, I'm just not going to, this one's for me. Like, this one's like, I'm just not going to care. And sometimes a lot of the better ideas and the better things come out of those. Like, just being like, I'm just going to do, this is just for me. I'm going to get 4 of my friends. Let's just podcast.
Yeah.
You know?
Or like when you just decide, you know what I'm going to do? Like, I'm going to iron my clothes today and like not put on anything. And then you're done ironing your clothes and you're like, I have 5 amazing ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
that's what
like,
you're talking about. As soon as somebody stops telling you what to do, and like you take a breath, and you go, I think I might like to do this. Yeah. And then some of those things you can put on the burner. Yeah. And some of those things end up becoming client work. Yeah. But at the same time, if you didn't make time to chill and just stop trying to do stuff for other people, you wouldn't have got those great ideas.
Yeah, I think that's really important. A lot of, I'm recently realizing that I don't often have a lot of downtime to just let my brain wander.
I believe that.
Yeah.
You seem like that type of person.
Yeah, totally.
Look at where I'm at right now.
What are we doing? Let's stop this. But there's I heard recently there's like science about how when your brain is daydreaming, it's actually really important for your, it's almost like your brain like restructuring its hard drive.
Radiolab. You heard that on Radio.
Yes. Oh man,
you probably did.
You're a man after my own heart.
I am, bro.
Yeah, dude, I love. Man, I've had some of the most existential like moments like listening to Radiolab. I found Radiolab. I was just driving around and I got tired of Catholic radio. Yeah. So I'm like, what is like the most different? Like, and so I like went to NPR and I was like, I need this. Like, I need something outside of my bubble, right? And so I was like listening to NPR, and then late one night, I heard an episode of Radiolab, and I'd never heard anything like that.
It was wild, right?
It like I felt like I was suddenly listening to War of the Worlds on the radio way back, right?
That is so crazy.
Like I was like, this is what, and I remember I sat in my, this was before I even understood podcasts. I just sit in my car in the parking lot with the lights off and everything. And I'm just like listening. Yeah. I'm like, this is wild. And I was a fan forever.
And I think that Radiolab is unique no matter what background you come from.
Yeah.
I think anybody that is kind of wired to like that show, when they discover it, you're like, this is a completely unique show.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, in and of itself.
I can't tell you how many people I'm sure I've had conversations, and there's people around the world that are like, we should do like a radio lab, but for X, right? Do you get that all the time?
No, but you think about what Radiolab is. It's not for anything. It's for humanity.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
To me, what I like about Radiolab, and I'm going to bring it spiritually because it's really just how I think about a lot of things, is just the reality that God is so amazing, bro.
Yeah.
And so when we take time to try to look at God's creation,
Yeah.
and we see how it interacts with itself,
Yeah.
and we interact with ourselves, and then we interact with everything. Like when you start observing those things, Radiolab is like a show about observation.
100%. I've used clips of Radiolab in ministry before.
Yeah.
Especially the one when this guy who's been, I think, deaf from birth.
Okay.
If you remember this one, and it's about words, and I'm having a flashback. If I had it all pulled up and I was professional, I'd just play it. But it's about this guy who doesn't understand that when people are moving their lips, that they're saying words.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
And so this woman teaches him about words. So like when she's trying to sign door, he thinks that she's saying like to go to the door. I don't know. He doesn't understand that the word door means the thing.
Oh,
so he doesn't understand it. And then it's amazing. Like the first when he realizes that everything has a name, it like completely rewires his brain. He like breaks down into, I mean, he's like a 20-year-old man, and he didn't realize that people were communicating with language. He thought people were just reading each other's minds, like when people were moving their lips and stuff. And so then Jad Abumrad is like, once you understand that everything has a name, how does that word change reality? And I was like, man, word changing reality, like, right? I was like, dang, like that is some deep science. Like it just rocked me.
Do you think about, as people, when we get these revelations and when we learn about how God has revealed things throughout the years, but we all have these personal times when we're allowed to somewhat understand a revelation.
Yeah.
And it rocks us. But there's so much of that to be experienced. And there's so much that we're not going to experience until it's perfect, until God allows us to experience those things. Like, so when we hear that story, I think that we all can start to either feel or feeling or make a personal connection.
Yeah.
And I love the hope. I love the hope that because God is so amazing.
Yeah.
Dude, there's so much of that to be experienced.
Yeah. And what Radiolab really taught me was to have more wonder at the world, to be more open to be more open to.
I love the word wonder.
Yeah, to be more open to shrimps clicking underwater. Do you remember that one?
No, tell me.
They don't understand that shrimps can make some type of click. They don't know how the shrimp are making this click, and something with like on the molecular level, they're like making plasma underwater.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like really crazy.
Did you hear the one about the dirt, about how those little things in the dirt were everything's connected through this new thing they just learned about?
No. Is that it? That's the teaser.
Yeah. You can't do it justice. It's like these little tubes, these microscopic tubes that plants use to communicate to each other. So they talked about how trees interact with each other.
Yes, I heard about this. Yeah.
And so like, but bro, the thing they use to communicate, it's in the dirt, homie.
Dang,
so
that's
like
crazy.
The earth communicates to itself.
That's so wild. That's so crazy.
Right, but think about how we are learning about that.
Yeah.
Think about the reality of what if this is true, and then there's so much more that we don't know.
Yeah.
And the creation is magnificent, bro.
Yeah.
And I love how you said wonder, because back to Ravi, shout out Ravi Zacharias, bro.
He listens. He's he's a regular fan.
Hey, Pete, he has a thing about wonder too, and he talks about enchantment, and he talks about children.
Okay.
So obviously Jesus said, "Be like a child," right? And it's like he breaks this down, and he talks about how kids look at the world with so much wonder. They just get excited about the most random thing, the littlest things. And he says, people are missing that in life.
Yeah.
That is a very important, even like a spiritual thing that we have to be like children because we're missing out on the wonder. God is a wondrous God. So it's like, that clicked in my mind when I heard him say that. And I think I've listened to that sermon. It's come up a few times. Yeah. And that has started using that word in my brain. So like, what shows like Radiolab and other people that explore these things.
This
that's
American
why I love,
life or stuff like
just
that.
humanity. Yeah. So social sciences and then the earth, or just science in general. Like I'm so much a fan of trying to understand this thing because I believe there's so much to try to understand. Right?
You would love. There's a book. There's a collection of essays by. Have you heard of G.K. Chesterton?
Oh yeah.
So he has a collection of essays on like just really weird stuff. Like if you didn't know better, you'd be reading it and you're like, this guy was on LSD.
Right.
Because it's like little things about chalk or about like it's just little essays. I forget what it's called, but it's called like, it's not much to do about nothing because that's Shakespeare, right? It's like,
is it in a book? Is like essays, all these essays in one book?
Yeah, it's just like I think he had a regular column in a newspaper, and he would just write like about cows, and it was just like him just observe it. He had such a ability to. Anyways, I'm not gonna look it up.
But look, think about why the reason he probably did that, and like it's totally valid.
Yeah, 100%.
We don't. The average person doesn't want to. Might not want to acknowledge how valid.
Well, it's kind of. I mean, I don't know how you feel about this whole everyone's an artist thing, but I do feel like the artist in some way does that. Like he makes people look at stuff in a different way. You know, like I'm gonna repackage love or a common human experience in a way that you're gonna experience. Like I'm gonna force you to experience this in a way that you've never experienced before. Yeah,
being an artist or whatever is not like it is a very human thing. Yeah, it's not a rare thing. Yeah. And I'm the most unpretentious about those type of things. Almost to try to be pretentious. I'm unpretentious about it. I'm just like, guys, come on. Yeah. What is this? Come on. This is humanity. Yeah. People do this. Yeah. Whether it's valid or valuable or popular or not, it doesn't matter. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Has God always been in your life? Like, has that always been a part of your life, like way back when you started getting into music, or?
No. So like, when I started getting into music, when I was 16, I had one of those come to Jesus moments, in like, a pastor's apartment. Like my friend started going to this random church because his mom brought him. Mm-hmm. And anyways,
Are parents Christian?
Yes.
Okay.
And then,
well, like, were you raised like very religious? Or?
No.
Okay.
But we got to go to church every once in a while. Yeah. So like the idea of Jesus, I was like, yeah, cool. Tell me about it. And so like I had a life-changing moment. And so, that was the worst thing I ever did in my life. It was amazing. I heard about this story about Jesus, and then I kind of heard about it in a different way, and I was like, what? Totally. Let's do this thing. And like, I had one of those crazy, weird, like, my life changed. Yeah. And it was super powerful. So when I was like, that was like when I was 16. So everything kind of changed from I was still skating and still exploring music. And yeah, when I started making music, I already had a strong, like, Christian movement around me. I had Christian friends or whatever, stuff like that. But, so yeah.
So what was it that, I mean, if you don't mind, but what was it that, what was it that changed, or what was it that caused that? For me, like, I actually sometimes, like, I love hearing stories like that, like the more radical ones, because I almost sometimes wish I had a more radical story.
I think that's very common. People tell me that all the time.
Yeah, because, for me, it was just, my dad was really into the faith, and it was a very intellectual thing for most of my life. And it wasn't until I met non-Catholics who loved Jesus a lot.
Right.
And it challenged me, because I was like, well, crap, like, they don't know as much as I do, but like, they really know Jesus. And then when I was at Georgia Tech, I realized that part of the only reason I was going there was because I wanted to be rich and smart.
Okay.
And I wanted everyone to think I was rich and smart.
I want that right now.
I know, right? Let's do that. But I realized it was just like, man, that was the only reason I was doing it. I felt really called to ministry. Yeah. And so I transferred to this university, a Catholic university, and I was like, oh, this is going to be these are where all the books come from. Like this is all these kids are gonna love the books, right? And I show up with all my Catholic books, and not everyone was into the Catholic books, but a lot of them were like really into Jesus.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like I thought I was into Jesus, you know? And a lot of my friends were they just seemed like better people than me. And I was like, man, whatever, I want what they have. Like, they talk about Jesus like they're hiding him in their closet or something. Like, I want to like talk to him that way. So it wasn't this like radical thing. It just was slowly like an onion.
And you know, I think that's a really common thing too, because we have like a Christian culture, and just because as Christians we do believe we should raise our household to believe in Jesus, right? So like Catholic and not, like when you have a strong tradition, I think that is a very common thing. Yeah. And so for me, it was weird. Like, you know, I heard about like there was a thing, and people probably might know what this is called. It's like the lordship, like thing, the lordship of God. Yeah,
like the lordship of Jesus.
Right, the lordship of Jesus. So I was presented with the gospel in a way that Jesus was your Lord. Yeah. So when I heard it in that way, I was like, yo, for real? That's what it is? Yeah. And I was like, I cannot mess this up. Yeah. Like, I was like, whoa, I didn't know about that. Yeah. Okay.
Can you explain a little bit? Because I'm sure there's some people.
So it's basically that Jesus is God, and because Jesus is God, he wants to be the Lord of your life. And that meant that, like, he wanted to be your leader. Yeah. He wanted to be, like, your teacher. Yeah. He wanted to be, like, involved in your life. Like, your day-to-day was based off of this person called Jesus because he's God. Yeah. And I was like, I didn't know that God was a personal God. Yeah. And so I would personally say it's a personal God.
No,
that's
100%.
Okay, because maybe that's what it means, like, theologically, but like, that's how it sounds good to me that way.
That 100% was my change in my life. Because I knew intellectually that God loved me, but at that university was when people started saying this phrase, to have a personal relationship.
That was really popular,
Yeah, and so that, I was like, what? Like, and that changed everything for me. Yeah. Like, scripture was different after that. Yeah. Like slowly, you know, it's so dumb. Like, I would go to prayer, and I would almost be intimidated to talk to God. Like, I would talk to God.
Sure.
But not a whole lot. And it was my parents, it was always called Dear Jesus in our house, because we'd say our memorized prayers. Good. And then we'd have our Dear Jesus. And it was always Dear Jesus.
Wait, did you finish your memerized prayer in all the way through with the amen?
Yeah. We'd finish all of our,
and then you would say, "Dear Jesus."
Well, so like, as our family would get together, we'd all kneel down by the bed, and we'd all say like our Hail Mary, and we'd say our Father,
yes,
and then we'd go around the room, and everyone would say a Dear Jesus.
Oh, very cool.
It was, and so but it turned into a memorized prayer. Like, it turned into
because everybody said the same thing every time.
Or I would, Dear Jesus, thank you for this beautiful day. Please help my dad to get a promotion, and please, and I pray for the people. And so even like up through college, I felt like I had to do it, like brushing my teeth. And so I knew like there was this concept of talking to God, but it wasn't until I was like, I was in that university, and I was like, all right, God, if this is real, like if you actually want to start communicating with me and like be the Lord of my life, I'm open to it. Yeah. Like, if these people aren't faking it, I want what they have. Yeah. You know?
Heck
and
yeah,
it was just
dude.
that started changing.
Pray to God in that way, watch him change your life.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And check this out. I think the opposite in one way. Like, when I started finding out that there was a historical way to talk to God, and there's like a traditional, or there was a way to talk to God that wasn't just out of your passion and out of your heart, blew my mind. Yeah. And not that it just blew my mind, because I probably knew about it, but when I saw it in practice with Fat Mass, I got to do all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And then we got to stay with some Franciscan friars and stay with them. And when you'd wake up in the friary, and you wake up to these chants, and you go down, and it'd be a huge cross with Jesus on it, and it's just like you're kneeling down and you're praying these traditional prayers, and then you would sing these traditional songs. And then I was just like enamored with where they were in the world, what they were doing in the world, and how they were using tradition to drive their action.
Yeah.
And so now I have some Catholic prayers that I read because the concepts inside of these prayers I had never heard of.
Yeah.
As a Christian person.
Like what prayer? What do you mean? Like what?
Like the prayer of Saint Francis.
Francis of Assisi?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I heard somebody sample a recording of that prayer on a record.
Like on a Christian record, or was it just
on Marzil as a rap record?
Okay.
And then so like in that record, but I didn't know it was from this prayer at all. But I'm just trying to say, like, I heard a concept of something on a record, and it was like a little piece, and it said like, "Lord, help me not to seek comfort as much as to comfort others," something like that.
Yeah.
And then so like when I heard that, it planted a seed inside of me. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
that's a thing.
Yeah,
like,
dude, have you heard of the Litany of Humility?
Oh man, I don't know.
Dude, you would love this. So this it reminds me of this. It wrecked my life. But you can keep talking.
No, that's it. So like just those prayers, like so that prayer is one that I repeat often.
So did you go from like maybe a more like non-denominational to more like high church kind of thing? Like
what's high church mean?
Isn't it like, I think it's like, because there are some non-denominational like churches that don't have as much tradition, and then there are some like Anglican and Lutheran have like more tradition.
I was not this. I came from a Pentecostal type church.
Yeah.
Like so this was like very overly
snake handlers.
No, but it was just like, it was super rad, but it was like very, when I grew intellectually, I started studying the history of the church I was at, because I was like, look, what is really going on?
Yeah.
And so the church I was at was started by a former Baptist preacher who caught the Holy Spirit and started a big revival.
Yeah.
And so like, but finding out about the Jesus movement, and then like going backwards, like spiritually, traditionally, what have I been taught?
Yeah.
Where does that come from? And so, so I didn't even know about even all that other stuff. So I think I started understanding more about those stuff. I mean, I would be buying books from the bookstore and going to the library and going, what is all of this?
Yeah.
Because you're searching. Yeah. Even as a Christian, you're like, because there's so much in life. It's like, I'm trying to get some footing.
Yeah.
And so I had eventually got, I had bought a catechism, and I went to
like a Catholic catechism.
Yeah. And then I went to like RCIA. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
What's it?
Yeah.
So I did that. I did all of that. But I didn't join the church. Yeah. But I was seeking out like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, what's the truth? Or like,
that's like really similar to Gunker. Like they have a similar story. Yeah. They like
I got to hang out with them.
Really? Yeah. That's awesome. Are they still Christian? I don't keep up with stuff, but I saw something.
I don't know if that's a valid question to ask.
Exactly right.
Okay,
yeah, exactly right. Yeah. But they said that similar. Like I remember reading that they went through RCAA, but also were like really, really loved like the smells and the bells. You know, like I think he was at something, probably like adoration.
Yeah, adoration. Adoration's amazing.
Yeah, where it was like the smells and the bell. You know, it's so funny. Like I think there's been so many times that I've had conversations with people who aren't Catholic, like other Christians, and it's so funny how like the parts that I admire in them, like I don't know if this makes sense, but it was does. Like for me, it was the emotional side, the emotional piece that I was missing, and the personal piece, and then I have some friends who like they feel like it's so over emotional and so personal that they're missing the intellectual. And I was like, man, like I kind of had to run away from the intellectual so it's just so funny how it like fits together like a Reese's Pieces, you know. It just
when you start starting understanding a little bit about psychology and about how people are, like that kind of validates that question. Like people, there's all these different sides to people, and there's so many different things that make people tick. And like as we grow, we start to reach into these other sides. I don't think the idea that one person is just like another is not true, but the idea that we can relate to these other aspects is very true. Yeah. So I think it's a very human thing to start saying, man, there's something missing. Yeah. Or man, there's an itch.
Yeah.
Why is there an itch there?
Yeah. So would you say that, I mean, not all of your work is with Christian musicians in particular, but like, how do you view that whole world? I mean, I'm not super into it. I mean, I'm not super knowledgeable in a lot of this stuff. In high school, I came across a Lecrae album and Tadashi, I think, and it blew my mind. Because I started entering in by way of like Hillsong.
Cool.
And then, Five Iron Frenzy, which I don't know if they're Christian. Well,
they definitely were. They were like probably Tooth and Nail or something crazy like that.
But then Lecrae was like, I was like, whoa, this is wild. Like, that was really, I mean, and as like an upper middle class white kid.
Oh, you would love it. That's that target audience, homie.
But I mean, I remember like, I mean, I was just really into it. I was like,
and
really
you should have been.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess early on.
And propaganda. I meant to.
Propaganda,
I mean, I'm not above like name dropping and stuff, but when I saw too that you had worked with propaganda, I was like, again, that was another. When I came across some of his stuff, like he has this one track, "Excuse Me for Asking," I think, and stuff like that, and I'm like, if it was another moment in my life where I was like, this is like different. Like this is Christian, but it's like challenging me and like hurting me and like and like cathartic and like I need this, you know, like I went through that. So that's it. That's all I got. Those are the only names I got.
Those are rad names.
But that's like been my experience. But I always wonder in that world, like, I don't know how you view like Christian music and Christian music as an industry and it's such a strange thing. Like
it's an industry. So but on the reality of it is like Christian music is an industry, just like other genres of music are an industry. And within Christian music industry, you have lots of different genres of music. So it's just a music industry, and at the end of the day, it's all the music industry. It's the Christian music industry is the music industry. So I'm early on, once I started making music and non-Christians started asking me to be a part of their music. I really just I made an analogy in mind that made me say, okay, let's work. And I don't know if this analogy stands up, but it's basically just like, when he goes to work as a dentist, does he only clean Christians' teeth?
Exactly, yes.
And like the Christian plumber, so are you the only going to plumb people's houses that are Christian? So to me, I was like, well, I'm doing this. Who am I going to serve?
Yeah, exactly.
What's my job? Yeah. And so if I wanted to make my job title only serve Christians, then I could have done that. But I was like, I don't think that's a really realistic thing in my mind for me. Yeah. Because I didn't look at it like as a ministry per se. I looked at my whole life and that's, you hear that, but it's real. Like it's almost like, well, my whole life is gonna be a walk with God. Yeah. Like I'm gonna try to give my whole life to God. Yeah. I want everything I do to honor God. Yeah. And it's really rad when you look at the Bible though, and you look at people that followed God and how God hasn't told them to only work within the house of Israel. Like he told Jews to serve
go out.
these kings.
Yeah. So, but how? So, because I relate so much to that, but it reminds me back to our like niching down thing. Like, do you ever struggle with, well, if I did niche down as like a Christian producer, maybe I can't
ever do that, by the way, because I don't even niche down to one job. Yeah. So that's a problem. You see what I'm saying?
Dude, that's my life.
I don't even, yes, I can't even, well, we probably relate in the way that you said that you don't like the niches. I don't like to be known as just a producer. I definitely don't like to be known as just a DJ.
Because you do video stuff too.
But here's the thing, like, I'm a person that likes to make stuff. And at the end of the day, if you think that you want me to be this, I'm going to disappoint you, because I'm going to tell you, I'm so glad you think that's so cool. I don't really think it's cool. I've just been doing it a long time. I'm like, I'm so over it.
So do you have the problem when you go to like cocktail parties or like a Christmas party with your wife and they're like, so what do you do? I have that problem.
Really hard.
I know.
What do you say?
Well, I first go to, I work for the church. Yeah. And then people are like, oh, so you're like a pastor? I'll go, well, kind of, like, depending on if they're Catholic or not. I'll be like, well, kind of. I mean, basically for adults. Like I'm a pastor for adults, but I'm Catholic, so there's the priest, and then I just work for the priest in ministry for adults. Or when I was in youth ministry, I got all the time, "Oh, you're a youth pastor," and then they'd be like, "So eventually you're going to move up and be a real pastor, right?" And at the time, I wanted to do youth ministry for the rest of my life. I was like, "No, I want to do this forever. Like this is what I want to do." But then when people ask about my side project stuff, like all this weird stuff, I have no clue. I'm like,
what to say?
I dabble in making things.
I feel like I always disappoint people when they ask that question.
Yeah.
Because I hate it. I don't want to.
So what do you say?
Oh,
do you say, "Where's the bathroom"?
I prepare that answer before I go places.
Yeah.
I have to psych myself up sometimes.
So
not that people are always asking me, but because I do such a poor job at answering it.
Yeah.
Because here's what it is. Yeah. I answer it so poorly, they get uninterested by the time I finish.
Yes. 100%.
And then they move on.
They're
and I'm
okay, all right, yeah.
Dude, they're like, I'm done with this guy. and I'm almost like disappointed, sad.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, that's a good way to end that thing.
Yeah, totally.
I can't, sorry.
Yeah.
Don't put me in a box.
Don't put me in a box. Yep. Yeah. No, I love that. So what's the majority of the work that you're doing now? Like, because you are starting up video stuff.
Mm-hmm. So like for time-wise, the thing that takes up most of my time is working in the studio, which I'm very grateful for, and I do a lot of mixing and mastering and production.
Okay.
So I work with different artists to do one of those three things: recording, mixing, mastering, or music production. And then the most of like my business income comes from DJing.
Yeah.
And then so that, and so I've been trying to turn this corner from DJing, because DJing is now that's the thing you don't want to tell somebody you are, because over time it's just really hard. Like, maybe you think that's cool, but a lot of people don't think that's cool.
Yeah.
And even after a point in time, I'm like, I just want to be able to get back to liking music.
Yeah.
Not to diss anybody. I think there's just waves, right? There's waves.
And it's probably very, it's time intensive to have to go when you said you had a wedding DJ company, that's probably the better situation, because then you can just contract out maybe to other DJs.
No, but that's the problem. I don't do business well. I don't want to ever contract out my work, because every time I do a job, I think that this is my art.
Yeah.
I think that I'm responsible for pleasing these people. Like, it's like a big deal to me. So I think over time I've gotten a lot better with doing that. Yeah. But I'm not interested in making a turnkey business. I'm really not interested in making those type of things. Now, I would love to find a business I was interested in making a turnkey business. Yeah. Where a turnkey business, like, there's just a model, and you just implement that model, and you make money.
Yeah.
I would love to.
We started a subscription box company.
There you go.
That was our version of like a turnkey. Yeah.
Right. So it's just like anybody can do this work. You just bring in the people to do the work, and that's smart business, right? Yeah. So I'm still looking for that, but like, I find that what I enjoy doing, what I get my hands into, like, involve me serving others. So that's where in the last few years I was like, oh, I'm a service that serves artists, and I serve communities. So like, as a DJ, I was like, I'm serving this community. Yeah. And like, as a music producer and a recording engineer, and I'd be like, I'm helping this artist. So I'm a server.
Yeah.
Like,
what about the video stuff?
That's brand new.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited. So that's what I'm hoping to take over my DJ work.
The stuff looks good. The stuff you've done looks really good.
Oh, thank you.
Really
oh man, it's dude, brand, like, not even good. Like, the first few videos I made with a $500 camera, and I had no idea what I was doing, and it was so good.
Yeah, but when you're posting all your equipment and stuff, I'm kind of like similar, and then I'm like drooling. I'm just like, oh yeah, equipment, right? Like,
dude, it's such a problem. It's totally an idle thing. It's almost like, thank you, Jesus, for the opportunity to play with really cool things. I hope I don't love these things more than you.
And I have such a hard time just like messing with equipment forever and not making anything.
Oh no, it's
just
okay.
Like messing. I bought you might like, have you heard of oh man, the OP1?
Oh yeah.
I bought it freaking, I'm not a music guy, but I randomly I had to return it. I
bought it from Guitar Center?
No, I sold it on eBay.
Oh,
I bought it on eBay, and then I sold it on eBay.
Good for you.
But I messed with it for a while, but I just wasn't putting enough time to it.
So many people I know have bought that piece of equipment because I don't know for what reason. It's amazing.
Awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But they go, this is not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And it's so expensive.
Oh,
so you end up getting rid of it, or it just sits on the shelf.
It was fantastic. The problem was it took so much. Like, I would sit in order to really get it to do something. You would sit down and just spend 8 hours with it. I mean, it was so wild and fun. There's a really good YouTube channel called Red Means Recording. And he uses that, and you can sample on it.
Oh yeah,
so you sample from the radio.
You can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it has a radio in it and stuff. It was so fun. But anyways.
Yeah, that thing is really cool.
Yeah.
That's a great addition to another piece of studio gear. Somebody that's making awesome.
Yeah.
If it's your first piece of gear, it's like the worst piece of gear.
Yeah,
You don't want that as your first one.
I was just plugging it into this and just like, you can record on its own too. So I think I was doing some of that. But yeah, that was wild. I don't even play keyboard. I don't even play the keys.
Yeah, well,
I can make chords. But
the hip hop generation.
Yeah, right.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah.
It's like,
just hack it together.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it,
bro.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, hey, let's take a break, and then we'll do some rapid-fire questions, and I have to go to the bathroom, so we'll just take a break. Do you need anything?
Sorry for talking so long.
Oh, no, this is awesome. No, this is perfect. But anyways, okay, so I got some questions here. Almost none of them are serious. Let's make sure there's no other ones.
Probably good.
I know,
I'm overly serious.
Are you overly serious? You don't seem overly serious.
I don't seem that way.
Yeah. Is that like a measured thing? You like have to really force yourself not to
be serious?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
I feel that way about introversion versus extroversion. Okay. Everyone thinks that I'm very extroverted, but I have to force myself to be very extroverted. And actually my job it's kind of forced me to be extroverted. Are you introverted or extroverted?
I just read an article about how like there's news psychology around that and
it's
like
not true.
Yeah, it's like it's like a false dichotomy.
Yeah.
But anyways, I would assume people would say,
what's the article called?
It's in my pocket. I can look up my email.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. So there's a hold on.
You're fine. I'll fill the space. Here we
go. What was
I'm singing. I'm
introversion or extrovert. I think people would say I'm extroverted.
Okay.
But you know,
see, people think I'm extroverted
but
too.
Here's the thing: like when you meet, especially like the famous people on the microphones in the band, like the front men and women of bands, they are not extroverts a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And you would think that's crazy, right? But they found a way to be able to present their art in a way that they can control it.
Interesting. Okay.
So, it's not natural for them to show out in front of people, but this is the best way for them to show out in front of people.
Yeah.
So that control, that sense of control, is their
that's
thing.
So funny. You know what? I kind of feel like that probably describes me a little bit, because I do feel like often I will put barriers between me and people, or not, but like this is more comfortable for me.
Yes.
Isn't that weird?
No,
that
so
is kind of weird.
How you can, kind of open up a little bit, because there's
Does that
control.
make me autistic? Am I autistic too? Does that like a thing?
Sociopathic.
I'm such a hypochondriac that I do like, I go, am I autistic? Do I have narcissism? Do I struggle from bipolar? Like I totally go down those rabbit holes.
Talent Smart. It was an article that was Talent Smart. It's another.
I've never heard of that. Well, I'll put links to all this stuff in the
Talent Smart. How did I get involved with Talent Smart? I'm on their email list, but they send out articles about being smart and talented.
Interesting.
In your workplace.
Well, so
they talked about that.
Yeah.
There's something called, it's like not introversion and it's not extroversion. There's a new term that describes people that fall in those gray areas.
Interesting. So it's a spectrum now.
Oh yeah. I'm sure there's a big
My pastor is he described being in college, and if he's alone for too long, he's like, I just have to go find someone. He has to just go find, and he'll find anyone. And I was like, man, I've never experienced that.
Describe this to me then. Are you saying that extroverts feel empowered by people, feel power, energy from
the
because I do.
Yeah, that's the best explanation.
People.
Yeah, that's the best explanation I've ever heard, is like, where do you get your energy? Do you get it from other people, or do you get it from being alone? I have to recharge by being alone for long periods of time.
Oh yeah. And so I had a period of time where I was really depressed, and one of the things that I implemented in my life to help me in these moments was to get in front of people, get with
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, yeah.
So like I go to coffee shops
Yeah.
and like I meet new people
Yeah.
to feel okay.
Yeah. No, that's so funny you say that, because I can get, when I am recharging alone, it can be dangerous for me, because I can then just start going really down the path. I've never been
So that might be a different thing. We
true.
might be talking about more than one thing at the same time.
No, but I can relate to what you're saying, because like there are times where I'm too alone, and I have to force myself, like, okay, no, you need to hang out with people, because when you hang out with people, the fake narrative that you're running in your head about the world
is gone. It's quieter,
and it's like, I'm okay. Yeah. Have you been diagnosed with depression or anxiety?
Okay, yeah, for sure.
I've like wondered if. So my wife and I talk to a marriage counselor often, and so he's like registered for all.
Yeah,
and I've been borderline like wondering whether or not. I mean, that's part of. I had on another girl who has a whole podcast about postpartum depression.
Yeah.
Just because it's a topic that, one, I feel like it should be demystified.
Oh yeah,
and,
for sure.
And two, like it's something that but I'm a hypochondriac, so I'm like, am I just trying to diagnose myself with...
What's a hypochondriac? Explain that. I've heard
it's like I always just think that I have something, like I'm always trying to find a name for my thing.
Well, I think that is okay for us to try to find a name for a thing.
Yeah.
Now, I think that brings some people comfort because they feel lonely and scared and they don't know. So if you have a name, you can start to understand what that name means, and you can start drawing some kind of comfort that you are not alone or that you are understood. Being understood is really important.
Yeah, totally. But you and I have the same thing about not wanting to be put in a box.
Never.
So there's also like where I'm like,
so can I tell you,
if I say I'm bipolar, then that's my problem. Then that's always going to be the thing. If I say I'm depression, then that's always going to be.
Can I keep it 200?
Yeah, do it. Let's go.
So when at a long journey, right? But at one point in my journey, when the psychiatrist said, look, and she opened the book and she said, she started reading it. And then she said, does that sound like you? I was like, no. She goes, yes, it does.
Oh, yeah.
And she goes, people like you live life this way, this way, this way, this way.
And you're like,
this is what,
me.
No.
Oh.
Let me tell you, this is when I go, oh, word. In that moment, it clicked. And God was good. Yeah. Because the reality was, I'm not saying she was wrong.
Okay.
I was saying this is what is the common practice for how to deal with this.
Yeah.
And because I felt like, no, not to put a name on it. I don't care about the name. It was almost the fact that I was like, oh, word, the result of the name is this, this, and this. Like the way you deal with this problem, quote unquote problem, right, is this way. And I was like, sweet, I'm so glad that I know I have a God, that even if this is what we understand that I might be like, that I don't have to live hopeless. I didn't have to prescribe to, so it awakened the concept of a spiritual awakening in my life. It reaffirmed that in me, where I was like, took it to God and was like, okay, God, help me deal with it. And God, this personal God, really talked to me in a very personal way, broke down some things in a very real sense, and was like, let's do this. And it was up to me to say, okay, I'm going to follow you. And bro, it's been the best medicine. So I don't have any answers, but for my personal story, God provided spiritual answers and solutions that started physical change in my life.
Interesting. So are you saying that you, like when I was saying I do struggle with putting a name on it, are you...
I'm saying that it's okay to want that because I think the need to want to do that stems from a real place that should not be ignored. Okay. So I think the reality of, if you realize that there's a name for it, then you can feel comforted by the fact that it's a real thing. And that you're not making it up. And then that might give you a feeling. A good feeling. And then you could go also, then if you're like a thinker, then you can go, okay, then I can learn about it. Then let me read a book about how other people dealt with this. And then,
It's interesting. Like
it takes you on a path.
It's interesting though. Cause like I was talking to the counselor, he was like, well, you might be bipolar. Do you want to explore that?
Sure.
And that was like, really different for me because I was like, well, you're supposed to tell me if we should, you know what I mean? Like, so I wasn't really sure how to handle that.
I'm not going to, don't keep me talking, but let me tell you, like, so when you talk to psychiatrists, they often are making their best guess. So for him to say that is fair because in my situation, what got me going on that label was that what medicine made the best effect in my life. For doctors, you know how like when you get sick, a doctor says, take this medicine? Okay. So like when you have certain other problems, the science around that is let's see what medicine works for this person. Then we can start to understand what that person's problem is.
Totally.
So
there's one with like this medicine.
It's antipsychotic and antidepressants. Those are two different things.
Well, and then there's one medicine I heard recently where it helps people with seizures, but if you have bipolar, it will give you, it will have an effect on you. If you don't have bipolar, it will have no effect on you. And then it was like, we don't know why. But like there was another one where it's like, well, we're going to give this. If this makes you feel better, you have bipolar. If it doesn't make you feel better, then maybe you don't. You know?
And I think that the understanding what you just said is not like a sad thing. It's almost like, oh, that's kind of... Everybody's trying their best around here.
Exactly.
We're just all trying to figure this out too. And that's at the end of the day when you saw the term bipolar, and then at that same time, the same doctor, she was saying, "This is last year's book. Next year's book's gonna be like this but bigger. This bipolar section is gonna grow probably 100 pages." She says, so like now there's like 12 degrees of bipolar. Here's the thing: like we're just trying our best to learn how to deal with these issues, and we're putting names on it. And the more we discover and we research, the more our books grow on these topics. And so, and then maybe 30 years from now, like bipolar won't be a thing. It might be called something completely different.
Or maybe it's like bipolar 1, bipolar 2 type.
That's what I'm saying. There's like 12 of them now.
Oh, there is.
There's like there's a lot of them.
Oh, okay.
So because the understanding is they're getting better at understanding what these things are.
Because that's what because I mean, part of it was, I mean, not to have a counseling session with me right now, but part of it was like, I was like, man, me and my wife use this language of like, oh, you're on an up. Oh, no, you're on a down. And so he was like, okay, well, like maybe you have, are you like selling your home and running off with other women? And I was like,
that was one thing of bipolar. That was one. People with bipolar, and then other people with other bipolar, the other side of it, don't do that. So he was like, okay, well, like, we can keep exploring this, but like, how is that? Like, what's the end game? Kind of like what you were saying. Like, what's the exactly?
So, what do you want? What do you want to do? Like, do you want to, do you want to like go the medicine route? Do you want to try? Like, are there other things you want to try first? Do you want to try exercise? Do you want what do you want to do? And I was like, man, like, I guess I just never thought of a. Normally, I'm used to like a doctor just saying, here's your problem, here's what you do. And this was different. It was like, okay, what do you want to completely? What do you want to pursue?
I think when I was going to the counselors the first time, I got all kinds of different advice, and one counselor gave me a worksheet of exercises to do, and I was so offended. Now thinking back, very valid thing to do. Not a very personal, empathetic thing to do.
So it was like a survey, like take the survey kind of thing?
No, it was do these exercises. So go home, take this worksheet and do what it says to do. And the worksheet said, wake up, do 10 jumping jacks.
Oh, this was like a worksheet that's supposed to help you.
It was like telling me what exercises to do. That's what I meant. Okay, it's like a worksheet of exercises. So, so it was like, I want to kill myself, and you're telling me to do 10 jumping jacks.
Right?
Like I was like, this is not right. But the reality of it, in the sense that, does physical exercise give you endorphins to help you feel better? Absolutely. Is there a physical element to our emotions? 100,000%. But that doesn't mean that there's not an emotional or a psychological or a spiritual
chemical or
with the psychological. That's and that's physical too. Right. But spiritual. So like my journey, God took me down a spiritual path that started changing things and definitely changed the way my brain works.
Dang, that's wild.
It changed the fit because when you really think about, there's just two sides to the coin. There's one side that says we are a victim or we are dependent on our physical body.
Mhm.
Our physical body controls us.
Yeah.
And then there's another side that says we tell our physical body what to do.
Okay.
And that, mentally, our brain, the way our brain works, we can say either I have control over how my brain works or my brain is completely controlling me.
Mhm.
And then, so I believe through how God counseled me and the people he put me around in the change in my life that it was up to me to make decisions to follow God, to change the way my brain was working.
So kind of like rewiring your brain in some ways, right?
And
like,
absolutely. And if you look up like change your mind, change your brain, rewire your brain, it's super popular nowadays. It's a real thing.
It's kind of like isn't that like cognitive behavioral therapy or something? I think it's like that we have these pathways that get like I've heard,
exactly right. We have plasticity.
Right? That we have pathways, and I've thought about that too. That
we actually do.
Yeah, and we start getting into common patterns, and then so it's like, okay, well now I'm thinking this way, and this leads to this, and then how do I break out that pattern? Yeah.
I was about to say you are very familiar with. You feel like your brain is stuck in a cycle.
Yeah. You know what I got into is I also got into meditation a little bit.
Oh yeah,
and not like
super
spiritual
important.
meditation, but like just breathing exercises and just focusing. And it was like it started becoming like oxygen for me. I was like, man, like I'm feeling better and I'm less anxious. And
dude, oxygen changes everything. By the way,
right?
I'm not even joking. Like
Are you Wim Hof? Are you familiar with that?
No.
Oh, dude. Anyways, for later, you got to look.
Nobody
at Wim
does.
Hof. Yeah, he's
even like when you're getting angry, they say count to 10 and breathe deep.
Yeah.
It's like whatever.
Yeah,
do it.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah,
do it.
You would love Wim Hof. He has all these weird breathing exercises, and he like runs in the snow and stuff. And like he'll do this like deep breathing. And then
let's breathe deep right now.
Okay.
Dude,
I feel better.
Wait.
We gotta do it again.
I got too excited.
Okay.
We can do it.
We can do some of that. How do we feel? Amazing.
Let's go lift some weights, bro.
I have weights we can lift.
Dude, don't you feel good?
I do feel good. Okay,
God's
here
good.
we go. We're going to just end up talking for hours and hours. Okay, here's some random crazy things. How did you handle turning 30? Are you 30?
I'm over.
Okay.
Way over. Yeah, I bought myself a cake.
A cake?
I bought myself a cake. I actually
bought your own cake? That was the first time you bought your own cake?
I bought myself an ice cream cake, and I bought myself the candles that said 30 and saying happy birthday.
I'm turning 30 this year.
Good for you.
What should I do?
Dude, do something very youthful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Buy a motorcycle?
No, like an ice cream cake.
Oh, okay.
I would recommend that. Like that's what I did. But
maybe I'll iron all my clothes.
If you feel good about it, like if that makes you feel good, then do it.
Okay. This was a random idea. If you could force everyone to listen to one album, let's say everyone in the world or everyone in the United States. If you could force everyone to listen to one album. Oh, that's recording. That's good. If you could force everyone to listen to one album.
Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club
Ooh,
fan.
interesting. Are you a huge Beatles fan?
I grew up, my mom is, and I am. Somewhat, yeah.
Awesome. Are we living in a simulation?
Of course.
You were I'm so glad I wrote this card down because you're totally like the type of guy that would love a question like that.
Of course we are.
I feel like we could talk about this for 3 hours probably.
We're a God simulation, homeboy.
This is a God dream.
This is a God dream.
Yeah, that's one of my. That's a good song. I like that song. Let's see. No, this was another. If you could ask God any question and you knew that He would answer, like right away, what would you ask Him?
I would say, God, can I pass this question? Because He would say something that would rock me to the core. So I would be so scared of the answer.
That's so funny.
I couldn't deal.
Yeah, that's so funny you say that because my immediate reaction when someone said that was I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like overwhelmed by that question. Yeah, that's hard. That's a tough question.
I'm in a stage in life where I'm reflecting on how Jesus said things to people.
Mm-hmm.
And like in my prayers right now, I'm literally going, Jesus, the things you said are so difficult.
Yeah.
And like, they're so difficult.
Yeah.
Bro, when God says stuff, like if he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Like but he's the most real dude.
Yeah.
So like if you are really bringing a true question
Yeah.
to him, you probably stems from someplace inside of you.
Yeah.
You probably want something.
Yeah.
You probably want to answer.
Yeah.
And God's going to rock you, bro.
I know, right? Yeah. Dude, yeah. Because like anytime people asked him questions, they were
That's
like,
what I'm saying. When Jesus gave him like these answers that either were like very like you're like, I want to follow you forever.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
did you notice
Yeah.
people like either followed him or they totally ran away from him?
Yeah.
And they were like, I want to follow you. Oh yeah, sell all your stuff. Gone.
See, I feel like I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd be able to go to a deep enough place. And it's so funny because I feel like it represents maybe what my prayer life is like. And maybe I need to ask God more questions in prayer. But I feel like there would be so much pressure, and I would ask him a question, and he'd just look at me and be like, you know what I mean? Like he'd just look at me and be like,
Do you know? But that's what the
And
smartest
that's it.
people in the world do. By the way, like Jerry Seinfeld. You know, he has that coffee that showed comedians and cars getting coffee.
yeah.
He had mentioned this to somebody, but it's a real thing, and people do this all the time at
Yeah.
work and business, where people come up to them with an idea and they say, "Here, I have this idea." Boom, 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 and then Jerry says, "Just don't say anything. Just look at them." And he goes, "They will turn around and come back to you with 5 better ideas."
Wow.
He goes, regardless if you think their idea is good or not. Like,
Yeah.
if they have a good idea, you don't talk to them. They'll come back with a better idea.
Have you tried that? Have you tried
No,
that?
but I think it's smart.
Yeah,
but
it
I'm
is
saying,
pretty
like,
smart.
so, like,
Yeah.
if God did that to you, God was
you'd be like, you're
you know
right.
what?
You're right.
Because he's saying, you know exactly what you need to do. Like,
yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like that's how he'd do it.
But he's a nice. God is gentle to his kids, right? Like
He is, yeah.
he speaks gently.
Yeah.
But the effects are not gentle. They're usually amazing.
Yeah, life changing. What's the weirdest thing you've ever done to a microphone?
We.
This is just me trying to be goofy.
No,
I don't
like
know.
that.
I don't know if I'm being.
I've
too silly.
opened a microphone and took it apart before,
Yeah,
but
okay.
I found a microphone in the desert before.
What?
You
just found a random
in
microphone?
the Death Valley.
It was probably a Shure SM7B because you can beat the crap.
That's
out
so
of
funny.
those.
It was a Shure 58.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait. Is this a Shure 58? Wait, is it SM7B? Am I getting them confused?
No, the SM7B is the radio mic.
No, 58. That's what I meant. Yeah, you can beat the crap out of those.
Yeah, it was. It is one. I
Those
have
are
it.
nice.
I've recorded. It's still. Yeah.
Praise and worship is kind of weird, huh?
Absolutely, it is. We are manipulated like a mug.
I mean, I love praise and worship, but the other day, I have to show you this. The other day, I like put on a retreat at my parish, and I was in the back. Are you familiar with like Pro Presenter? It's just like a way
of course, yeah.
And I was in the back, and I sent this.
I volunteered at church before. Bro.
Okay.
I know.
I sent this image to my friends. I was
Yes.
like, praise and worship is pretty weird, huh? And it's just you can't see, but it's a lyric from a praise and worship song, and it just says, yeah, or yeah. Oh Jesus, yeah, my God. I was like,
Do you have children?
yeah,
Yes,
5.
you do.
Yeah, we have 5.
You have 5 kids?
I know. I look
Okay.
18.
You look good, bro.
Well, I told you,
You
I'm
said
turning
you're
30.
turning 30.
Yeah.
You're a good-looking
Thanks,
dude,
man.
and you got
Thanks.
5. So you know how when your kids are really young and they want to show you something that
Yeah.
they've made,
Mm-hmm.
or they want to perform for you?
Yeah.
Like, you know how wonderful that is?
Yeah.
But when we sing, yeah, God, yeah, like, you know, God's looking at our hearts, number one.
Yeah.
But if he were to like tune in
Yeah.
to what we're doing,
Yeah.
he would be like, so cute. So that's. I'm so happy they take time
Yeah.
to color pink
Yeah.
on a piece of paper for me. And
That's like the best way I've
Like-
ever heard someone put it. Yeah. That's
isn't
a
it?
really
It's
that's
like a
really
kid
good way to put
performing
it.
for their adult parent.
I like it. Okay, so here's my last crazy idea I had. Where is it? Where did I pull it up here? Do you like country music?
Sure. Willie Nelson. I can get down with Willie.
I'm like, okay. So
Texas country, I can do that.
I found some pretty wild country lyrics, and I thought either we can try to rap them
Oh, yeah.
over like a track.
We can definitely do that.
Okay.
Or
But
what was your other idea?
But I figured we would throw a twist.
Okay.
So there's a place called Country Donuts, but I don't think they were open. But I figured we could do it while eating donuts.
Why didn't you?
I just try to surprise and delight. I just try to surprise. So
I
it's
love
like, so
donuts!
I think it's like, it's something where like, maybe we'll, every time someone like rings the bell while they're performing the rap,
Okay.
you have to take a bite of the donut. or something like
You
that.
lost me. Keep going.
Okay, so like I'll give you like a chunk of a horrible or crazy country lyric. You have to try to perform it as a rap.
Yes.
Every now and then the other person can like tap the bell and you got to take a bite of the donut and keep going. Okay. And maybe what kind of track could we pull up?
Pull one up?
Okay.
Pull something slow, something modern.
Do you want me to pull up some of your stuff?
Oh, no. Hey. I suck it now. Okay.
All right. So here we go. You ready for this?
Yes.
Oh, we got to get this a little louder. All right. So this is number 1. This is going to be so weird. Okay. Who goes first? Do you want rock, paper, scissors for who goes first? All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Paper, scissors, shoot.
You go first, bro.
What? No.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. And okay, so this is a country song as performed. Oh, and here's our donut. Select our donut. I think the bullseye should be the one we do. Maybe this one right here. Okay. All right. So should we do like you can't laugh while doing it too?
Of course.
I'm so intimidated. You're a professional, man. Okay, here we go. Okay. I can't even do this. This is my idea. I can't do this. Okay. Ready?
Do I need to read it to you?
Maybe you can be my hype man.
Okay, yeah, I got you, homie.
That made me feel comfortable here. All right. Drop kick me, Jesus, through the goalposts of life and over and neither left or right. Straight through the heart of them righteous uprights. Drop kick me, Jesus, through the goals. Through the goalposts.
Yeah.
Drop kick me, Jesus, through the goalposts. Kick me, Jesus, through the goalposts of life. Straight through the heart of them. Drop kick me, Jesus, through the goalposts. Straight me, through the goalposts. Drop kick. Okay.
I just like the bell sound.
Okay.
Drop kick me, Jesus, to the goalpost.
This is an actual country song.
A Jesus country
It's
song?
called Drop Kick Me Jesus Through the Goalposts of Life, recorded by Bobby Bear in 1976.
Oh, that makes it so much better.
Yeah, isn't
Thank
that
you.
wild?
That yes, 1976 is a very appropriate time. For
Okay.
somebody to say that.
You can select another one if you want. I just put like a few weird ones in
I
there.
wanted that one. Drop kick
You
me
can-
Okay. Oh, I can't do that. Okay.
I'll pick a different track. This is an amazing donut, by the way.
Dude, it looks so good.
We need like some.
You actually did it really good to the rhythm, man.
Oh gosh, I had.
Drop kick me, Jesus.
I just met you and I just did that, wasn't it?
I love little baby. Hey y'all, check it. This is the entire lyric. Okay.
Man, what should I do this?
That's you're killing that donut. That donut's legit.
Okay. Oh, you got to hold a donut now.
Can I have the red one too? Is this strawberry?
I don't know. I don't know what
Or
any
is
of
that
it is.
strawberry?
I have no idea. Are you allergic to strawberry?
No. I want strawberry.
I love this intro right here.
Yo. Yo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Check it. I love little baby ducks, old pickup trucks, slow moving trains, and the rain. I love a country thing boat. My dream floats. Champy is your hope. I love you too. I love the leaves in the wind. Picture my friend, birds of the world squirrels. I love coffee in a cup, little fuzzy pup. Bourbon glass in the grass.
Sounds so explicit.
I love you. I love honey in the swamp and the sugar and song. Got man rice and eating donut. Keep it going, you know what?
Yeah.
Just one donut.
Man, that was...
Fire, bro. That's mumble rap.
Man, it is mumble rap. It is mumble rap. So what was that one? That one was, I forget what that one was. Oh my gosh, some of those lyrics were what? I love little baby ducks. old pickup trucks. This man, this is the entire lyrics of "I love."
You cannot start a song with "I love Little Baby."
Oh, do you like watching Rate the Bars or whatever? Have you ever seen that?
Is so good on Genius. Is it
yeah,
on Genius?
I think so. Yeah. If you had to give this a rating, just the lyrics in general. I love Baby Ducks. What else?
It's
love
like
you
usually
too.
out of 5, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I would say 0.01.
Okay. I love honest open smiles, kisses from a child, tomatoes on a vine, and onions.
That's a pedophile. That's you can't do this.
I love winners when they cry,
Ooh.
losers when they try, music when it's good, comma, and life.
Go back to lyric writing school.
And I love and then the final is like, and I love you too.
Here's the thing, man.
Country music is wild.
Country music is the original rap.
Really? I believe that.
Well, just listen to that.
Yeah,
that's Amigos lyrics. Right
yeah,
there,
or like maybe kind of like blue.
that sounds like Migos.
I would believe anything you told me. Yeah, I would. You could convince me. You could convince you. I feel so inadequate in this realm of music stuff that I would believe you if you told me. If you were like, look, no, really, like the original rappers, they started in country. I would be like, okay, cool.
No, people have been rapping for a long time, but they didn't start in country. That's for sure.
Okay, how many was that enough? Should we do?
Let's just eat donuts, man.
Okay,
let's actually put on Drake and eat donuts.
Okay,
it's a joke, but
well, I don't know if I can.
Yeah.
I'll probably get ripped down. If
you
I
can't do that.
Okay, maybe we'll just play music and read the last two as we eat donuts and just rate them.
I'm down for that.
Okay.
This donut is super legit.
Would it be weird if we played some of your stuff?
You can play my stuff. It's fine.
I had it up on SoundCloud earlier.
I don't know what I have on SoundCloud.
I don't know.
Oh shoot! There you go. Oh.
Okay.
There's gonna be rapping on this.
Oh, there is? Do you have an
Yeah.
instrumental somewhere?
There's some instrumentals on there probably. Go to tracks. Yeah, what's that top one? Does it say instrumental? There you go. Oh, there you go. We can do that.
Which this is a guy you
Nico
just
Santana.
worked with, right?
Mhm.
Like he just released something recently, right?
Yeah, that's a newer record.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well let's read.
Okay.
I'm gonna have another one of these stuffed ones.
Yo.
Okay, so Drop Kick Me Jesus. We also had. Okay, we already did that one. Oh, this is a Johnny Cash. I didn't realize I've been flushed from the bathroom of your heart.
Oh shoot, Johnny! Don't do it to him.
I've been washed down the sink of your conscience. In the theater of your love, I lost my part. What?
Yeah, I was.
And now you say you've got me out of your conscience. I've been flushed from the bathroom of your heart.
I'm so glad. If I was that person, I'd be thank you. Thank you. I don't want to be in the bathroom of your heart.
I don't want to be in there.
Yeah, not a very good place for me to be.
That's such a weird thing for Johnny Cash to say.
Yeah, Johnny was before his time, bro.
He was way ahead of his time, yeah. What's the other one? Oh, the other one I got was, this is a honky tonk.
Yeah, this is a song that is played still.
It's a strange song.
Yeah, they get two-step. This is a two-step in country song.
That's true. But it's
Wait a minute, you do two-step to the song. You know the song.
I do a little bit. My wife we were dating and my wife said, if we are going to get married, you have to learn how to two-step. And I was like city Florida boy. I was like, I don't. And she's like, it's really easy. Just anyways, the lyrics of this are crazy. Got it going on like Donkey Kong. Which, what does that mean? Woo wee, shut my mouth, slap your grandma.
I think you know what that means, by the way.
There ought to be a law. Get the sheriff on the phone. Lord have mercy. How she even got them britches on that honky tonk badonkadonk.
Yeah, bro.
That's nuts, man.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Remember Donkey Kong? He was holding that girl.
Oh, is that what that means?
No, it's not what it means. There's imagery though.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. This is a pretty good donut, actually.
I'm so grateful for donuts. I'm so grateful for you and Shipley's donuts.
You can take all of these home.
Not a good call. We'll leave the evidence here, bro.
Well, man, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, dude.
Thanks for we met on the internet and now we're friends.
Here we are.
And you came over and you probably had no idea what to expect.
I didn't want to think about it.
Did you know you'd eat donuts?
This makes it way better.
Well, cool. Are there any last announcements?
No.
Normally towards the end. Normally towards the end, if you have any if you want to plug anything or announce anything, or people can get a hold of you somewhere.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram. I'm always doing projects, and there's always going to be projects released
through Instagram.
And I keep up with people through Instagram. So holler at me as DJSEANP.
Mm-hmm. And you do have a website too?
DJSEANP.com.
Yeah.
DJSEANP.com. And it has my discography. But y'all hit me up and let's do work. I like to make things. If anybody needs something made, or you want to work together, let's do it.
I am trying to think about should I just get someone to do the video work of this?
Let's work together, bro. Let's do it.
Get some.
It's so fun.
Yeah,
I got lights too, and we can make it happen.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I like making stuff,
dude. Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye. It was inappropriate for me just to say bye just now. This is your show.
No, it was charming.